Here is the age 62 trap. Claiming Social Security, retiring from your job, and stopping work altogether are three different decisions. But a lot of people treat them like they're one big decision. You turn 62, file for benefits, go ahead and leave work and start retirement. That can work for some people. And I'm not here to tell you that claiming at 62 is always wrong. But I am here to tell you that claiming at 62 can be expensive if you have not developed a plan for cash flow, thought about Medicare, taxes, your overall retirement planning strategy, and considered what may happen to your spouse if you pass away. I'm Michael Baker, a certified financial planner, and I'm here to walk you through a before you file checklist for things to consider before you file for Social Security early at age 62. So let's talk about why this decision feels hard right now. This decision feels hard right now because Social Security is constantly in the headlines. You'll hear about trust fund issues, possible future benefit changes if Congress does not act, inflation, taxes, people saying that you need to file while you can before the rules change. Those headlines matter, but they don't answer your specific question. Your question is not, what's the age that everyone should claim? Your question should be, given my age, my health status, my cash flow needs, my marital status, my plan for retirement, what is the best age for me to claim at Social Security? That is a planning question. And age 62 is especially tricky because it's often before someone is eligible for Medicare. Many times it's before they're fully retired or they're continuing to work. So you have to think about the earnings test when filing for benefits early. So let's start with the obvious question. Should I file at 62? Well, to answer that, you need to know if whether or not age 62 is a specific cash flow need, there's some type of health concerns or health constraints, is there an emotional deadline, or is this part of a coordinated planning decision? All of those are very different. If you need Social Security to help you cover essential cash flow expenses or specific living needs like bills, food, insurance, utilities, then it's quite possible that claiming early may be the right move. Social Security is income, and sometimes having that dependable cash flow today could be more important than having a larger paycheck in the future. But if the reason is fear, fear that benefits are going to run out, or fear that something's going to happen with the overall system, fear that you might miss out, simply just claiming at 62 is probably not the right choice. I would encourage you to slow down. For people who are born after 1960, full retirement age for Social Security is age 67. So if you claim early at age 62, you are locking in a permanently reduced benefit that would last for the rest of your life. And depending on if you're married or not, you could also be locking in your spouse to a lower surviving spouse benefit. That doesn't automatically mean that for everyone waiting is the best solution. Your health, life expectancy, your marital status, tax status, cash flow needs, family history, all of these factors do play a role in making the optimal decision for you and your family. But you want to be honest about what's really driving that decision to claim. So question number one is, do I really need this income, or am I reacting to fear? Next question, what if I keep working? Or said differently, what other income sources do I have that could potentially bridge my income gap? A bridge or an income bridge can come from multiple different types of sources. You might be able to use some 401k funds or IRA funds. Maybe you've got a brokerage account, or you intend to work part-time. This is where Social Security claiming becomes a little bit more than just an early versus late debate. If you have enough savings or resources where you can cover multiple years of your income need, this can allow you to delay those Social Security benefits and position yourself for a larger paycheck in the future. That can be especially valuable if you are relatively healthy, or if you're the higher earner, and deferring your benefits could create a larger paycheck for you in the future and potentially your spouse as a surviving spouse. But there is a trade-off. Spending from investments earlier can feel uncomfortable. And if markets are down, withdrawals from those accounts will need to be managed carefully. Another thing that you must consider if you file early is that if you file prior to your full retirement age, there is an earnings test that is applied. That doesn't mean that you can't work and also claim Social Security. What you need to be mindful of, however, is the thresholds to which you might start phasing out those Social Security benefits. These limits change every year and the rules are different the year that you reach full retirement age. Those withheld benefits can change your cash flow expectations now, even if the formula is adjusted later. So do not assume that working and claiming at 62 will produce the check that you expect. So question number 2, what other resources do I have that I can use as an income bridge from age 62 to 67 or beyond? Now, we have to talk about taxes. How do taxes change the answer to your question? This is one of the biggest surprises for new retirees, is that Social Security is not always tax-free. Depending on your other income, up to 85% of your Social Security check could be included in taxable income. The tax formula uses what is commonly referred to as provisional income. In simple terms, this includes your adjusted gross income, tax-exempt interest, and half of your Social Security benefit. That means that wages, IRA withdrawals, 401k distributions, pensions, interest, dividends, capital gains, even muni bond interest can affect how much of your Social Security check is actually taxable. So claiming at 62 can create a chain reaction. You add Social Security and you keep working part-time. You take money from a traditional IRA, suddenly more of your Social Security check is taxed than you had expected. This does not mean that taxes should scare you away from a claiming decision. It just means that you should compare the benefits that you expect with after-tax income, not just the gross benefit. For some retirees, delaying Social Security while using strategic withdrawals or Roth conversions before your required minimum distributions can begin are valuable. For others, claiming early and preserving investments may feel more secure. The key is to run the numbers so you can see what you look like after taxes. So question number 3, consider taxes and what type of income you will have in that tax year so you can understand the true after-tax benefit you will receive. 4th question, and this is a big one. What can happen with my spouse if I decide to claim early? Couples often miss this because they analyze Social Security one person at a time. Each spouse gets their own worker benefit and they tend to look at each benefit as though it lives in a silo. Well, first of all, when one spouse dies, the household does not keep both benefits. The surviving spouse may receive the higher of the two benefits, so the smaller check effectively goes away. That makes the higher earner's claiming decision extremely important. If the higher earner decides to claim at 62 and lock in a lower benefit, that lower benefit may affect the surviving spouse later. And the surviving spouse may still have many of the same expenses: property taxes, insurance, utilities, home maintenance, transportation, but with less income. So for married couples, this is not just about a break-even calculation. It is a household projection question. If you are single, divorced, or widowed, the analysis is different, but the same principle does apply. You want to coordinate your claiming choice with the benefits that you have available and your cash flow and ultimately the income that you need. So let's make this practical with 2 hypothetical Carolina retirees. First, let's think about an imaginary person named Tom. Tom is 62, he's worn down from work, his health is not great, and he's got very modest savings. He's got enough for emergencies, but not enough to comfortably bridge 5 years without income. So he's not the high earner in a married household, and he needs reliable cash flow. For Tom, claiming early at 62 may be reasonable. Not because it's mathematically perfect, but it's because real life retirement is not necessarily on a spreadsheet. If income is needed now, early claiming might be the right thing for Tom. Now let's imagine Linda. Linda is also 62. She's got a solid 401k balance. She's got a cash reserve and plans to consult for a few more years after she walks away from full-time work. She's married. She's the high earner in the household, and longevity runs in Linda's family. So if Linda claims at 62 when she can, she may be doing multiple things. First, she may definitely reduce her future income from Social Security. It's also likely that she's going to permanently reduce the potential surviving spouse benefit for her spouse. But not only that, she may be subjecting herself to the earnings test, because if she's a high earner and she plans to continue working and consulting, she may see the earnings test applied to her Social Security benefit, and we're not even factoring in the after-tax money she would actually receive. So for Linda, using part-time income in a planned portfolio bridge may actually give Social Security time to grow and deferred with those deferred or delayed retirement credits. Same age, same program, but two completely different answers based on the individual circumstances. So this is why I really don't like blanket rules when it comes to certain things like claiming Social Security. I don't like blanket rules always claim at 62 or never claim at 62. The better question is, what job do you need Social Security to do for you in your retirement plan? So the 5-question checklist before you file, here we go. Before you file at 62, you need to answer these 5 questions. Question number 1, do I need the income now for essential living expenses? If the answer is yes, claiming may be necessary, but if it's no, then you need to keep evaluating. Question 2, will I keep working before full retirement age? If yes, check to see if the earnings test is going to apply. Don't just assume you're going to receive the full benefit right away. Number 3, what other income will I have this year? Look at wages, pension income, any IRA withdrawals, investment income, capital gains, dividends, etc. This is what will impact how your Social Security is actually taxed, and you want to factor in what the after-tax number is going to look like. Number 4, this is a big one and we haven't talked about it yet, but how will I pay for health insurance before Medicare? Medicare for most people generally starts at 65, not at 62. So you have the ability to claim Social Security benefits early, but not Medicare early unless special circumstances apply. So you want to understand how you're going to cover those medical expenses. Question number 5, if I am married, what happens to the surviving spouse? Do not just think about maximizing the first few years of retirement. Look at the income plan after one spouse is gone. In our office, we refer to this as the surviving spouse plan. If you can answer these 5 questions clearly, you are closer to making a confident decision as it relates to your own personal needs. If you can't, that still doesn't mean that you should just claim blindly. Here is an idea for you to use. Age 62 might be right, but automatic claiming is the danger. There are some legitimate reasons to claim early, depending on your health status or health concerns. If you have limited savings, your job is lost, or you have specific family needs and you have to have the income, in many of those circumstances, claiming early might be the right fit. There are also many legitimate reasons to wait. If you have longevity in your family, if you have other sources of income, if you have really good health, if you're married, there are multiple reasons that you could consider waiting or creating a plan to help you defer or delay your Social Security check. Treating Social Security like it's a standalone decision, in my view, is a mistake. Social Security can impact how you invest, your taxes, your Medicare timeline, your retirement date, your spouse, and your long-term income security in retirement. So before you ask, how much do I get at age 62? Ask a better question. What happens to my whole plan if I claim now? And what happens if I wait? If you are turning 62, do not let a headline, a neighbor, a coworker, or some rule of thumb make this decision for you. Your Social Security claiming age should match your retirement income plan. If you want help thinking through these numbers, I encourage you to talk with a qualified financial professional who specializes in retirement income planning. And if you want the next step, I encourage you to watch the next video, which will talk about coordinating 401k withdrawals with your Social Security claiming strategy. Because the goal is not just to claim Social Security. The goal is to create a retirement income plan that protects the people that you love, gives you freedom in retirement, and helps you have peace of mind. Thank you for watching, and we'll talk to you next time.